now what we want to do is we want to create a page that shows your history plotted over time on the sentiment, the score of your sentiment. So a few things that we have to do in order for that to happen. First, we need to figure out what your sentiment score is on a certain entry, which we're not doing that right now. So we can go back and do that. The next thing we need to do is figure out, we got to save that somewhere. So we got to update the database so we can save that. And then the last thing is creating a UI where we can plot that. And then we also want to calculate like your average sentiment so you can understand like how you've been. Eventually, if you want it, you can put that on a sliding time range, pick a date range, see how you felt within this date. Surface, you can even go further and be like, okay, within this range, show me like certain words that I use, surface common words that I use so I understand what I was saying in that moment in time. Like you can get really deep to understand yourself as long as you're honest with the stuff that you write. Okay, let's do that. So first thing first, let's make a new page inside of our dashboard, sibling to journal, and that will be called history. So make a new folder called history, and inside that folder, make page.tsx. And then history is just going to be a page, a server function. So we'll do that. Default history, like that. Okay, that's it. Nothing crazy. Just a div. I'm just going to add that to my my links in my sidebar so I can actually click on it. There we go. Okay, so now should be able to go to history and it shows us history. Okay, first things first is we're gonna need some, we're gonna go update. We're gonna figure out how we're gonna do this with AI. So let's think about it. We could go down into AI, make some new functionality just to get the sentiment, but we know that we're using this analyze function every time an entry is saved and updated. We can just add another property on our schema to ask for a sentiment score, and then we can save that. So I think that's what I'll do. So I'll go to our schema in this parser here, and I'll just say like sentiment score, and I'll say this is a z dot number, and describe. I do remember, is this one? I think this one was a little struggling. So I'm probably gonna use the one I used before, which for this one, I described it as sentiment of the text and rate it on a scale from -10 to 10, where -10 is extremely negative, 0 is neutral, and 10 is extremely positive. It actually took me, I asked GPT to write this for me because everyone that I wrote would not give me what I was looking for. It was like sometimes and not sometimes. It was just like, this is not what I'm looking for. So I was like, I told GPT, like, this is what I'm trying to do. Write me a prompt for this. And I was like, cool, here you go. And I just pasted it in and it worked. I was like, dang, that's meta. Cool. All right, so I'm gonna paste that in. Now we need to go update everywhere. We're doing this to account for it. We were mostly doing spread in most of the places, so we probably should be good in most places. But let's just go double check. We definitely got to update the schema for sure. But let's go check in the API calls, those two ones on the update and create. Yep, we're spreading here. So if it gets created, we should be good. If you want to update it, it should be good. And then on this one, yeah, we're also doing spread. So we should be good. We shouldn't have to change anything here because we're not manually adding any properties. Everything's spread. Are we returning it though from the parser? Let's see. Yeah, we're just returning the whole thing. So that should be good too. That's all we really got to do is just update our schema. So we'll come down here, make a new one called sentiment score. It needs to be a float. If you do integer, it'll break. because you're going to get back decimals. It's not going to be whole numbers from -10 to 10. It'll be floats from -10 to 10. And I'm going to add a default here so our database doesn't freak out. So default is just going to be 0 as a neutral. And then npx Prisma db push should be good because we added a default here. Good to go. I'm going to stop my server, start it again.